Hey everybody, welcome back here to A Place to Heal. My name is Marie, and it's been a while since I've done one of these deep one-on-one videos, and I thought that it was about time. And one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you today is about being a doormat. And the reason I want to discuss this with you is because a lot of people believe that detoxification is just detoxification. You take a bunch of pills or herbs or liquids, and that's it. That's how you detox your body. But what people don't seem to realize is that with detoxification, it goes a lot deeper than that, because you're not only just detoxing old junk out of your body and toxins that aren't supposed to be in there, but some of those toxins are feelings and emotions. And you have a tendency to change and start thinking very differently when you start detoxification. I have a lot of people that tell me after about 6 months into the detox, and they're like, well, my family's saying that I'm acting weird, and I'm not acting normal, and whatever normal is. But no, you're not, because you are going to change. And I can honestly say that before I went into the hospital, I was a completely different person than the person who came out of the hospital. And one of the things that I want to address is anger, because there's a lot of people who I go to help out that I notice that is the first thing that comes out of their mouth is anger. I just can't believe this is happening, and this is, and on and on and on. And I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of deep-seated anger there. So today, if you don't mind, I want to share some of my notes with you about how to address that, how to take care of that, because you do need to take care of that, and you do need to address it. Just like you are addressing your detoxification, you have to be prepared for that, because as your cells change and those toxins change and you take all that stuff out of your system, you are going to be changing. It's not just going to be the detoxification. You are going to be a completely different person than you were yesterday or last week or last month. And it's very important to learn how to do that. And anger in our bodies is a signal. It's not, some people say, well, I don't know if anger's right or anger's wrong, or you shouldn't lash out. And that's not the case. Anger is no different than hunger or thirst. It is a signal. It is telling you something. And just like you can't sit there and go, well, really, should I be hungry? I don't know if I should be hungry because I just ate an hour ago. You don't ever question your hunger. You don't ever question your thirst. But yet we question anger. Well, I don't know if I should have gotten angry at that person. Well, maybe I overreacted. Maybe I shouldn't have. The reason that you're having this anger is because it's telling you something. It is giving you a signal. And just like, when we're thirsty, we sit there and go, well, what should I have to drink? I don't know. Maybe I'll take some water. Maybe some iced tea sounds good. Or you're hungry, what should I eat? You need to do the same thing with your anger. When you're angry, you need to respect that. It deserves a certain amount of respect, and it deserves a certain amount of attention. And you need to sit there and you need to go, why am I angry? What is causing this anger? Because I've noticed there's been certain times when I've just been driving down the road and I've just been angry. And sometimes I'm like, wow, why am I so angry? I'm just driving. What is causing this anger? And sometimes I'll sit there and go, well, you know what? I just need to get my liver cleaned out, because it's my liver telling me that I'm just irritated. Or I try to think a little deeper and think, well, what made me angry today? What did I hold on to that I didn't let go that is still causing this? So, as women, It's even harder, I think, sometimes as men. I meet a lot of women who are very sick and they're very ill. And I see these women who are very quiet. They're these little submissive mouses. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they just start screaming and yelling. And it's like, I told you to go do that. Why haven't you done it yet? And I'm like, whoa, and, it's because of all this suppression, that not giving the anger the attention and the respect that it needed when it first popped up. You ignored it, you put it aside, and then it just keeps rearing its ugly head every once in a while, and you look like a freaking lunatic when you do stuff like that. So, the reason that we have this problem, especially women, is because we are constantly bought up, and I blame society for a lot of it. Yes, society, because they teach you that you are supposed to be sugar and spice and everything nice. You're not supposed to be mean. And we're taught to be the peacemakers, the soothers, the nurturers. How dare we be anything else, right? So when we suppress these feelings that we're having because we want to be sugar and spice and everything nice and nurturers and lovers and everything else, all of a sudden, we become the witches, the bitches, the hags, the nags, the man haters. We're rude, we're controlling, we're hysterical, we're unladylike, and then they're even going to attack us on a sexual level and tell us that we are sexually unattractive. No, women like that are sexually unattractive. Kind of makes you wonder, if you turned around and told men that they were sexually unattractive when they did that, how far that would get you. So like I said, when you have that anger, when these are all feelings that need to be addressed, you need to stop. You need to address it, especially while you are on detox. You really need to stop and go, okay, why is this happening? What is going on here? Why am I feeling like this? In order to get those feelings up, get them out, and get them detoxed. Because just like everything else, you want to get it out and you want to get it detoxed away so that you can grow. Staying silent or ignoring these feelings are going to cause illness. Trust me on this one. It is constant. I've seen people get cancer. I've seen them deal with their feelings. I've seen them get rid of the cancer, and then I've seen them go right back to the same old patterns, and I've seen them get the cancer again. And it's a continuing thing. I can't say that I got the same disease over and over, but every time I ignored my anger and I bottled things up, it kept showing its ugly head in certain ways, in gallbladder disease and, arthritis, and it'll show up in all sorts of forms. Whether you're male or female, you choose silence in order to not make others uncomfortable. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to make them uncomfortable. You don't want to make them mad at you. So we have a tendency to be peacemakers. You don't, and especially in family units, you don't want to disrupt the collective. And I love calling families the collective because that's what they are. When you start to do this, let me switch here. When you start to do this to protect another person, I don't care who it is, whether it's a daughter, a father, a son, a spouse, whatever. When you do this to protect the other person, you start to lose yourself. You get to a point, and I know that you can relate to this, and a lot of people, if you can't relate to this, I'm sure you've heard someone say it, where they'll be telling you, I was in the marriage for like 5 years, and all of a sudden I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was like, who are you? You don't even recognize yourself anymore because you start to lose yourself, your identity of self, and you start losing it little by little by little till you finally get to a point where you don't even know who you are anymore because you've been trying to keep the peace so much among other people. And this happens when there's a huge, there's a lot of family and it's a collective. And from the time that you're born, there are rules set into place. This is how we behave in this family. This is how we act in this family. This is, and if you try to go against the collective mind, they will go against you. And that's a lot of rocking the boat. So a lot of people don't want to do that. And therefore they're miserable in their lives. I was very miserable for a very long time because I did not want to go against my collective, and there were certain rules that had to be obeyed, certain ideas that had to be put into place, a certain religion that had to be followed, a certain way that we had to eat, behave, talk. And if you did not behave, talk, and act like that, the collective got together and they will push you out because it's like, you're not acting like us. And if you're not going to act like us, and they'll challenge you, you need to behave this way. This is the way that you need to behave. And if you don't behave, you won't be part of the collective anymore. And that's how you get the black sheeps in the family. The black sheeps in the family are not the ones that are causing problems. The black sheeps are the ones that have sense of self. They know who they want to be. They know who they are, and they know that that's not who they want to be. And because they are not following the rules and being part of the collective, they kind of get shunned out of the collective. But when you do that, when you start losing your sense of self, you start to build up anger, resentment, rage, and all those emotions are stored in the liver. And it's very hard. It's not hard because the liver is one of the main organs that likes to, redo itself. Actually, if you cut half of your liver off, it'll actually grow back. I mean, your liver really wants to clean this out and detox and stuff. But unless you're detoxing every day, this is junk that you're constantly putting into your liver. Not only are you putting toxic medication into your liver, synthetic medication, but you're also putting those bad foods into your liver and all the emotions, the toxic emotions. So it's not just toxic foods, it's also a toxic life, a toxic thinking, a toxic acting, a toxic living that also creates problems. But when you do this, you put brakes on your spiritual growth because maintaining a relationship, in your opinion, is more important than having a sense of self, a sense of you. So you're putting that relationship, well, I don't want to cause waves with my mother. Well, I don't want to cause waves with my sister. Well, I don't want to cause waves with my husband. You're putting that relationship, you're saying, you know what? That relationship is more important than me. That relationship is number one. I'm number two. I don't really matter. But it does matter because you are holding this stuff in and it's beginning to grow and it's beginning to fester and it's beginning to bubble, and eventually it is not going to do anyone any good. You as a human being, and I want you to write this down somewhere if you have to. Say it to yourself 100 times a day. You as a human being were not put here on this earth to be an emotional service station for others. I am not here to be an emotional service station for others, and I have to act a certain way or I'm not accepted because I do not act that certain way. You are who you are. You're special. You have gifts that you brought onto this planet. This is your journey. This is not someone else's journey. This is your journey, and you need to live it your way and have a sense of you. You are not an emotional service station. Hi, I'm here. Come on over. Treat me however the hell you want to. Walk all over me any way that you want to. It's okay. You can lie to me. You can treat me like crap. It's all right. I'm not going to complain because your relationship, the relationship that I have with you, is more important than the relationship that I have with myself. my sense of self. So you need to keep that in mind whenever you get into a battle like that with someone else, and you need to decide, is this relationship more important than me? I mean, who's more important here? I have been called rude. And I mean, this isn't just starting recently. Recently, it's happened more because ever since I got out of the hospital, you know, when you're in intensive care for a very long period of time, like I was, you have a lot of time to sit there by yourself and be in your head. And when I was first diagnosed with all my problems and I was sick, I started getting very angry. I noticed that I had a lot of anger. And I started asking, well, where's this anger coming from? And then I started sitting there going, well, I'm really mad at that person for treating me like that. And I'm really mad at that person for not doing this for me. And how dare this person do that to me? And after a few more days when I sat with my anger, I started realizing, you know, the only person I'm mad at is myself, because I lost my sense of self. I kind of caved in. I gave up, and I allowed people to treat me however the hell they wanted to. And I was always the perfect little submissive going, okay, well, I don't want to create any problems, you know? Okay, well, I don't want to cause any waves. And if they got upset, I was, okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. And, you know, that is a really bad place to be. And I know that's what ended up making me very, very ill. I just recently took a small 3-day mini vacation, and I went over to a friend's house who I've known for a very long time, and she has not been around me since I've changed and I've lost the weight and I'm eating healthier and everything. And but she knows. I mean, I discussed it with her. This is how my life has changed right now. This is what I'm doing. And the first day that I was there, I woke up in the morning and she made waffles. Oh, these are your favorite. You know, you're going to have waffles with me, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to have waffles with you. I don't touch waffles anymore. Oh, come on, just one time. It's not going to. I don't touch waffles anymore. I'm sorry. Oh, I see. And here it comes. Because they're going to challenge you. I see how this goes. So I guess I'm just not good enough for you anymore. I'm like, I never said that you weren't good enough for me anymore. I just said that I just don't eat waffles. Okay, fine. So went into the bathroom, and the next thing I know, she comes in with a cup of coffee, and she puts the cup of coffee on the sink, and she goes, here you go. And I'm like, I already told you I don't drink coffee anymore, you know? And basically by her actions, she was trying to tell me, I don't like the new you. I want you to return back the way you were, you know? And I'm going to test you. I'm going to test to see if I can take you back to the way you were. And she put the coffee on the sink, and I said, you can take that away. It's just going to sit there and go to waste. I don't touch coffee. I haven't touched coffee in years, and I'm not going to do it, not just once. Fine. Well, maybe you should go have coffee with your new friends who don't drink coffee. I'm like, why would I go have coffee? And they don't even start making sense, you know, but they're so upset. And I can tell you right now, she wasn't upset about my new weight loss. She wasn't upset about, you know, the new way that I was eating. She was upset because I was no longer a doormat. I was no longer putting up, because she was always the dominant one in the relationship. She used to tell me what to do, and I was always, okay, well, I don't want to upset you, you know, and that's why our relationship lasted so long, our friendship. And I just got to the point where, no, I'm not going to do this. And I wasn't mean. I didn't get upset. I just kept holding my ground, and that is going to upset some people. And let me tell you, for the next 2 days that I remained there, every morning she made coffee. Sure, you don't want a cup of coffee, hon? I'm like, I'm positive I do not want, because they're going to keep trying. They don't like the new assertive you. So you have to be prepared for that. It's going to be like a chess game. You know, you're going to stand your ground. You're going to move your king. They're going to move their queen. Then you're going to move some pawns, and then they're going to attack you. They're either going to attack you with guilt or anger or whatever the case may be, but they're going to make their move. And, you know, whenever you want to change a relationship like this, whenever you want to change yourself, when you're fighting at that moment, you are fighting for your sense of self, to realize who you are. And it's very important to fight that fight, you know, because you want to be you. And you just need to be prepared for whatever gets thrown your way. And, you know, you never know if it's going to be pretty or if it's going to be ugly, but it will, trust me, it will get thrown your way. So lately, you know, I have been called rude, cold, selfish, ungiving, unfeminine, egotistical. I did a video, you know, when I first started YouTube, I swore that I was not going to take out comments out of my comment section. And then I changed my mind because I decided that I'm not going to let these people get on my YouTube channel and with this bad, ugly energy and leave these nasty comments underneath my video. I don't want that energy on my channel. If they want, they can move right along and give it to someone else, but I will not accept it. I won't accept that kind of energy underneath my channel. I love myself enough where I don't want that there. And I did a video recently where I said that I was no longer going to give out free information. And I got a lot of nasty comments that I had to delete. And one of them was from a lady, another woman, telling me, well, aren't you just all full of ego, thinking you're so special? And I thought, you know, first of all, you say you're going to help people, and then you're not going to want to help people. And I thought, oh, I never said I wasn't going to help anyone. I just said I wasn't going to help anyone for free. So, and then I started thinking, you know, I was being bullied to acting the way that I used to act and saying, okay, yeah, I'm willing to help everybody for free anytime. And I wrote her back and I told her, you know, the minute that you go to your boss and tell him, hey, I'm willing to work for you for free, we will resume this conversation. Until then, case closed. You know, but I have been called all sorts of names. There's chances that you're going to be called all sorts of names. And, you know, when you're raised in a society where our identity revolves around being loving, it's very tempting to go back to our little proper place and with our tail between our legs and apologize because we want everyone's approval. You know, because that's something that society has put into your head, that you need that approval. So they know this, and the minute they attack you, you know, you instantly, okay, no, I want somebody's approval. I'm not here for viewership. Don't care. So, you know, you can just take your little comments, head on down the road, because it ain't going to bother me one little bit. That is not my quest on YouTube. And so, you know, I will not be running with my tail between my legs to anyone saying, I'm sorry, I offended you. You know, so that is just not me. So in order to obey these rules, if you want to obey these rules, if you want to live by these rules that society has set out, that we have to be proper, that we have to be sweet, that, you know, we can't upset, we can't rock the boat, you will have to remain asleep for the rest of your life. You will have to remain asleep. You will have to remain blind. You will have to forget your feelings. You will have to forget your thoughts and not remember anything. You're going to be like those monkeys. You know, you're going to see nothing. You're going to hear nothing. You're going to say nothing. If nothing is going to matter to you, you will be a nothing. You will lose yourself if all you're going to care about is everyone's approval. Silent submission, the only thing that you accomplish by silent submission is the fact that you keep getting weaker and you keep getting weaker in order to make them stronger. And what you don't realize in the first place is that they're weak. But they need you to be weaker because they need someone to step on. And that is not the right thing to do. The only thing you're going to accomplish by that is getting sicker. So stop sacrificing yourself in order to keep harmony around. But before marching off to battle, You have to know what the war is about. You have to know what the consequences are. And you have to know that your opponent is going to challenge you in some way, shape, or form. And, one of the things that I really want to accomplish on this journey of mine was to break certain constant repeats of certain things that were going from generation to generation to generation. One of those things was my generations prior before me believed in, spare the rod, spoil the child. And so I grew up in a family where that's what was believed, go get me the switch off the tree and we're going to take care of this. It was not taken care of verbally. And I started noticing as I got older that the children that were beaten as they were growing up were no better than the children who weren't beaten, and actually they were worse. They each had their own set of problems, but for different reasons. So I decided that this is where that stopped. I never touched my children while they were growing up. I didn't believe in it. I wanted to stop it. Even if my children in time chose to spank their children or use that with their children, I wanted to know that it stopped with me. And so, that's one of the things. You need to change certain rituals that just, you need to look back and you need to, how long has this been going on in my family? How long, am I acting this way because my mother acted this way? Am I acting this way because my father acted this way? So you really need to question everything. So, and like I said, one of those things is before you march off to war, you need to know what you're risking, what's the cost, what your opponent might do, and everything else. Another one of the things that I absolutely wanted to stop in my family was the grandmothers raising the grandchildren. I refused to do that. I invested, as some of you know that have been following me a while, I invested a lot of time in my grandchild because I wanted her to have a good upbringing. And I realized that because I was being more a mother to the child, the mother wasn't being a mother to the child. And I thought, this has got to stop. I've got to stop this. My grandmother did this with me. My mother did it with my other daughter. I have got to stop it. Even if it's one generation, I have got to stop this. And I actually had other family members that came up to me and said, are you sure this is what you want to do? You're going to go off to battle and there might be consequences. And I said, I'm willing to take those consequences. This has got to stop. This is not right. And it wasn't just, I know there's a lot of you that are sitting there going, wow, that's, kind of pretty insignificant, but it wasn't the actual, there's a lot of grandparents that raise their grandchildren, but the problem was the consequences that floated on down, the trickling effect that happened, the disconnection between mother and child, the disrespect between mother and child, where all the respect was given to the grandmother and no respect was given to the mother. I was taught that. I was taught, don't respect your mother. I raised you. You respect me. And I no longer wanted that. So I needed to know what I was doing before, why I was going off to war. I needed to know the price that I was going to pay for that war. And I needed to know what my opponent might be capable of. So I want to, tell you that, that when you go to do that, when you go to claim your sense of self, when you go to stop patterns that have been in your family for years and years and years, you need to be prepared emotionally, psychologically. You need to be prepared for all this. And you're going to have to decide at some point, do I stay when you look at that relationship that is not working for you? Why that anger is bubbling up inside of you? Do I stay? Do I leave? Do I change? Do I not change? Do I stay here? Because that's one of the problems why people tuck everything nice underneath the couch or underneath the rug, is because the minute that you acknowledge a problem, you have to do something about it. Something. even if you don't change, you've still done something. So you need to decide, you know, okay, this is happening. Do I stay? Do I leave? Do I just stay here and keep putting up with it and lose my sense of self? You know, you need to decide what is going to happen once that battle begins. Since you're no longer going to be that same person, you're going to piss some people off. I can assure you, you are going to piss some people off. And the first thing they're going to do is change back, damn it. Of course, they're not going to come back up to you and say, I want you to change back. I need you to change back. They're not going to do that. They're going to challenge you and make you feel guilty. I guess you don't love me anymore. Is that the way you're going to treat me? So you really need to be prepared for this battle that's going to go on if you're going to find your sense of self. We can't change others. We can't change anyone. I know there's people out there that spend their whole life trying to do that. How can I change that person? That person's not living their life right. How can I change them? You cannot change anyone. The only person that you can change is yourself. And that is the most important person to change. And it can be scary. It can be very scary at times. We spend so much time trying to change others that we give up the power to change ourselves. And you can't change anyone else, even if you try. So sometimes when you change yourself, they will change because you're constantly playing on this stage opposite each other. And they like that play. That play is very familiar to them. Okay, you play that role, I play this role. And then you say this and I say that. And then you do this and I do that. The minute that you change that whole chemistry, it's not only going to be stressful for you, but it's going to be a little stressful for them. Like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? But if you hold your ground, I guarantee you, as you change, people will also change around you. Start thinking about your situation instead of reacting to it. Spend more time acknowledging it and thinking about it instead of just reacting, because that's the easiest way to do it. And for every action, there's a reaction. You're just going to keep going in this vicious circle, you know? Okay, they're going to say this, I'm going to say that. They're going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, so you need to break that cycle, and only you can decide how it needs to be broken. But it cannot be broken from, in order to find your sense of self, it cannot be broken from a place of judgment, and it cannot be broken from a place of anger. And it cannot be broken from a place of accusations. You can't keep accusing someone and judging someone and being angry with someone in order to change. You just need to hold your ground in order to find your sense of self. And you need to get out of that fix-it mode. I've noticed a lot of people that I deal with that are very sick are constantly in the fix-it mode. It is not your responsibility to change, shape up, solve other people's problems. It's not even within your power. It's not something that you can even do. So the best thing that you can do is, like I said, hold your ground, be true to yourself, and know yourself. Know what it is that you want. Ask yourself those questions. What do I want? What do I want to accomplish in the next 5 years? Is this doing me any favors? Because let me tell you, when I was growing up, my grandmother was always there for me. And it's like, oh, here, honey, anything you need. She wasn't doing me any favors by doing that. I did not grow and mature mentally and spiritually until my grandmother was had left this planet, because I had to figure things out for myself. And sometimes, and I know there's a lot of you mothers out there that are dealing with these children that are just insatiable, these husbands that are just very demanding, very controlling, and you're the one being the shock absorber. You're absorbing all all the negative, and that anger is building up, and that resentment is building up, and that sickness, that illness is also building up. So you need to start, putting your foot down about certain things. And with me, there was a lot of relationships where I said, this is, I need to talk to you. This has got to change. This is not working for me. So this is what's going to happen. I need this time for myself. I need this time for my friends. I'm going to go out with my girlfriends. I'm going to do this. I'm no longer going to babysit your child 24/7 for free. You're going to have to get a babysitter because I need time for me, and, some people got pretty angry and some people didn't, but that's, it's the price you got to pay for you to find you, because you're important. You're just as important as they are. You're not any less important. And, I hope that I have kind of like hit even a tiny little light bulb, because sometimes, just hearing another person talk, sometimes you hear another person say things, and I don't tell you my stories because I'm egotistical and I want to be in front of a camera. I want them to hear what I've got to say. I want them to listen. I don't care about that. I tell you this because, sometimes just talking or just sometimes just hearing someone, the little lights go off in the head and there's an awakening. And that's, I think, what we're all here on this planet to do, is to keep tapping each other on the shoulder one by one and keep waking each other up to realize how truly special, how truly meaningful we really are. And it's not just your health that is ever so important. It's also your mental capacity, your intelligence, your being able to feel. And you know what? A lot of people say, well, you need to love yourself first. But nobody, I heard that a million times and I was like, what does that mean? How do I love myself first? How do I put myself first? And I realized that that's how to do it. You have to find your sense of self. You have to. And the first way to find your sense of self is draw that line in the sand. What are you willing to cross and what are you not willing to cross? What are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do anymore? And start gaining your sense of self back. And that in turn, you'll start loving yourself more. And the more you love yourself, the more others will love yourself. So until next time, please stay happy, stay healthy, not only in your body, but in your mind. And remember, sometimes we just teach what we ourselves need to hear. Till next time, hope you're all doing well. Bye-bye.